good evening, everybody. Welcome to Law and Disorder. We're gonna have an interesting show tonight. Two of my co-partner and my guest are in traffic, and they're come. But I think I could carry the show till they get here. We're gonna talk about fentanyl tonight, and that's a big topic, a big problem we have in the United States, and I hope that any of the fentanyl users that are watching this show will get some tips, maybe. Well, um, okay. What is fentanyl? Fentanyl is a opioid. It's a pain reliever. It's made in factories in the United States, but it's also made illegally, illicit in basements, in garages. I mean, it's just you don't. The whole thing. People are dying. More people died from overdose last year than I think COVID. It's very close. So where is the? We having a pandemic. Well, maybe this is an endemic with drugs. What's happening is these cartel are bringing it in from Mexico, and my understanding is it's being manufactured illegally in China. Now, here's the problem: people don't know the fentanyl is very, very strong, very strong. Matter of fact, I saw a guy had a handful, like like a salt, He said that was enough there to kill like 50,000 people. That's how powerful it is. A little grain would knock you out. One of the guests on a show a few months ago, we were talking about narcotics, and a police officer stopped the car and went in the back of the car to inspect, and he saw a package. When he opened the package, the powder from the fentanyl hit him in the face. He almost died. They had to bring him to the hospital. Hello, Eddie Gazzetti. How are you? I wanted Michael Spain. Hey, Michael, how are you? I want to give a shout out to Vinny, Big Vinny from Rigoletto's, because he was watching the show tonight. He was all excited about watching the show, and we're going to watch the Super Bowl Sunday. All right, Vinny. Okay. Um, it's such a problem because what they're doing is they're mixing it with other drugs, and they really don't know. They're not pharmacists, put it this way. So they're putting in ask George Floyd. Yeah. Well, you saw what happened to him. I mean, we're not going to go into that, but he was all messed up, and then the cop put his knee in his neck, his back, and the rest is history. Okay. But it affected him in such a way that he refused to be arrested. He was acting suspiciously, crazy stuff, and it's a shame. It's a shame. And is that Pamela? Is Pamela joining us?
I'm joining you. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Vinny.
Hi. Well, you look good. You look like you're in a dark place.
I'm calling you. I'm tuning in from on the road. I'm taking our show literally on the road, Vinny.
You're taking the show on the road.
Taking the show literally on the road.
Yeah, but I understand you're in a car. I hope you're not driving while you're doing the show. I mean,
no, I actually pulled over. I'm parked legally
okay.
across the street from LaGuardia Airport.
All right. Now we have a guest, Courtenay. She's stuck in traffic, so she'll probably be here soon too. Um, we're going to talk about fentanyl. I did a little research. I worked narcotic cases when I worked for the government, but when I worked for the government, it wasn't fentanyl; it was Demerol. And then after Demerol was synthetic heroin. You had you go through phases. Then you had the big cocaine. Everybody was doing cocaine for a while. Then heroin, and then
there's crack.
And crack.
You had the crack.
Now fentanyl is the big killer. And I was listening to somebody the other day on TV. He said that they're being poisoned. The people that are using this stuff are being poisoned. That's how bad it is. And I don't know what can we do. I mean, the DEA, what are they doing? What is the drug invest? What are they doing? Okay, we both can't answer that.
Enforcement agents.
What's that?
No, okay. So you talk, I'll answer. Okay. So what I was going to say is this. There's always been illicit drugs being brought into the United States through Florida, up through the 95, I-95, right, up through Florida. Okay. And then more so coming through Mexico. And then you've always had the what do they call those, the camels,
The what?
the ones who they secret the drugs in their body and they're
Oh,
smuggling smuggling it across.
donkey. No, not
I want to say
donkeys.
camels,
Uh,
mules. Okay, mules.
I
It's
can't,
mules.
a
Okay, I have the
mule, a
wrong
mule,
animal.
not a donkey, a
It's a
mule.
it's a
Yeah, it's not
mule,
a.
not a camel.
You're talking
Right.
about a Democrat, a mule.
No, I didn't say jackass. I said mule.
Okay, well, it's the same thing. Okay, uh, but we've done cases in Florida and stuff like that, and let me tell you when I've gone to detective meetings and we talked about narcotics. Let me tell you what the Colombians do. They're very clever people. They manufacture cocaine like crazy. I mean, that's their number one export. So what they do is when the big one of the big guys gets arrested, here's what they do. It's very simple. They have villages in Colombia that are dirt poor. They get a young 21-year-old guy, put him in a suit,
Uh-huh.
give him 100 pounds of cocaine, and they set him up to be arrested. And he knows it because his village is going to get a ton of money. He's going to go to jail, and when he comes
Right.
out,
The
he's going to
family
be
gets taken care of.
he gets taken care of. And one of our guys in our group was a big shot in the DEA, and he said this is a common occurrence, and the feds love it because the federal agents just found 100 pounds of cocaine in a suitcase and and it makes them everybody looks good except the guys going to jail, but they're heroes in their town because the town has money, they can feed each other, and when they come out in 20 years, whatever, usually it's 20 years, then they come out, they're 40 years old and they're rich. I guess that's the way of life in the
That's a
Colombia. I
lifestyle.
don't. I'm sure other countries do the same thing. It's not just Colombia.
But you have a lot of countries down in Latin America that do that. But again, you have all these drugs that are being manufactured now, and there's a demand for it. If you didn't have people in our country as users, there wouldn't be a demand for it.
Now,
And you look at the recent spate of, but look at the recent deaths in Hollywood, for instance, of people who have overdosed because of either using fentanyl directly or having it mixed in with other drugs.
mixed
Even
in with other
nowadays,
drugs.
the
That's it.
marijuana that they're smoking, right? Even the weed and the marijuana that people are buying today off the street, unless you're growing it yourself so that you know what it is that you're making.
Or you
But
get the
if you're buying
medical.
it from
Or
some
you get the
low-level
medical.
drug dealer,
You get the medical
oh, but I'm not
marijuana.
talking about medical marijuana.
Okay, so with
Right,
the
but I'm not
streets,
talking about that. I'm talking
I know.
about street level,
You got to be
nickel bag,
careful. Yeah,
dime bag, whatever.
you got to be careful.
Right, because it's now laced with so much crap, you have no idea what's in it. Same thing back in the day when people were partying and buying coke to go party in, in the clubs. Back then, it was safer because even if people overdosed, but it was very rare. But compared to what it is now, you have such synthetic grades and mixtures in the cocaine today than you had from years ago. You wouldn't trust it because now you have fentanyl in it. Same thing with the marijuana. Remember a couple of years ago, they found people who were overdosing of marijuana on the street. They were walking around like
Yeah.
zombies. You found people down the subways and all over Manhattan. You don't know what they had. You don't know what they had in their system, but you don't know what's being mixed in with the current drugs today. And the bottom line is you have to stop it from coming in at the border. But it's being smuggled in so many different ways. It's being smuggled in um, fresh fruits. It's being put inside,
Yeah.
let's say,
Because
pineapples,
they
for
don't have
instance.
enough people to
You know, or,
check all the trucks and cars coming in.
well, the problem is this: the government should hire more people. You keep saying that that illegal aliens and illegal immigrants, undocumented workers, are taking away our jobs. Okay, you're not going to give these people those jobs, for instance. However, there are enough people in this country who are not working. Train them to become a DEA officer.
Yeah, I agree.
If
But
the
also,
jobs are there,
the
train people
federal
to do it.
government has so many thousands of employees. For example, the energy department has, I think, 10, 16,000 employees. What do they need so many employees in the energy department? Take 5,000 of them, put them on the border, and they're all bureaucrats. They know how to paperwork, and help them with the border agents processing these people. Free up the agents to do their job.
Okay, but Vinny, you're saying, okay, if I'm understanding you correctly, you sound like every person who is at the border trying to come across men, women, and children are all mules carrying illicit drugs, and they're all carrying fentanyl. And I don't agree with that.
No, they're not
You
all.
can't tell me that every single person right now is every person right now who looking to come into the country or coming into the country illegally. Not every single one of them is a fentanyl drug
No, I didn't
carrier.
say that. I didn't say that.
No, I'm saying that
I
was the
said
impression. Okay,
5,000
then I stand
employees to
corrected.
process the paperwork because
Okay,
that's the problem they have. When they grab these people, they have to do paperwork. When they do the paperwork, they can't watch the border. They can't watch the drug dealers. Freedom up to do their job, and everybody that works for the federal government is a bureaucrat anyway. So to give them paperwork to do, take them 5 minutes to learn whatever the procedure is, and they could process these people, and that would free up the agents to look for fentanyl and look for other drugs that are being brought into the country there.
well, you need more dogs. Dogs have to be trained for it. The dogs
What?
are sniffing out the drugs. The dogs are sniffing out the drugs. But it's not only the fentanyl that's coming in from across the border. What about all these meth? You have a lot of meth houses out there in the Midwest and out in the South.
Yeah, you have met labs all over, but the problem with met labs, eventually they blow themselves up. Very well on
Not
Rumble, Anchor,
not enough of them.
Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google, Pop. My God. Well, Anthony, you're doing a
We
great
are now
job.
streaming. Oh, wait, I got to read this. Okay, somebody spelled platforms wrong only because I'm very anal about spelling. We have to correct platforms. Okay, but now you can find us everywhere.
We'll find us anywhere. Yeah, yeah. But we're not on Spotify yet.
And we're not at the border.
And we're not at the border. No, 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 no. Uh, but the fentanyl is being mixed with all, like you said before, people overdosing. I think 117,000 people OD'd last year, more than the COVID deaths, or very close to it. And what is anybody doing about it? The DEA is probably overworked themselves. I don't know. I worked some cases with the DEA when I was on the job, and I wasn't impressed with them. But they are federal agents, and a lot of them do a good job. But like anything else,
But
not everybody's good.
it's like any, but it's right. It's like any other federal agency. They're there to do their job. And just like you have an NYPD officer who's going to make an arrest, he or she has to do the paperwork attached to that arrest. They're not going to pass the paperwork off to somebody else.
No.
Usually it's the AO who's doing the paperwork. So if you have a DEA officer who's making an arrest at the border, and seizing X number of pounds of fentanyl or cocaine, they have to do the paperwork.
Yeah, no, I didn't say that. When I'm saying paperwork, I'm talking about the ancillary work that has to be done besides the arrest, because you have to, first of all,
Right.
the border agents now are travel agents. They got to put them on planes. They have to find a place for them to stay. This is taken away from their job. They have to do that. That's part. It's not the arrest report. It's the other paperwork they have to do that someone else could do. It's freed them up to do more of their real job.
Okay, well, you have connections to law enforcement. What do you see as a solution for the fentanyl problem? Because that is now the drug of choice.
There's a couple ways. First of all, you gotta close up the border. You gotta close up the border. That would cut down the fentanyl probably 50-60%. They're still going to come in. The fentanyl will still be coming into the country. You just got to have more undercover. The best solution to narcotics is undercover agents. Because you got to remember one thing: when people are dealing drugs on the street, especially, a lot of them are not that smart. They could tell if you're a cop. If you look like a cop. So you get people that are on law enforcement that don't look like police officers. You know what I'm saying? You get them. You get the like, for example, in my company, when we did investigations in Chinatown, we used an Asian investigator. When we did an investigation in the barrio, we had a Spanish investigator. When we did something in Harlem, we had a black. You got to fit the investigator to the environment, and that's
Right.
the best way to make arrests. And also look for the spots where they sell it, and stop it. Right now, a lot of cops,
Okay,
they don't want to arrest anybody anymore.
but you talk about in New York, but just overall, do you realize that the narcotics industry is such a huge industry. There's always going to be narcotics, whether it was crack cocaine, it was
Yep.
marijuana before it was legalized, it was heroin, and heroin's been packaged on the streets of New York, and they were killing kids left and right, whatever the little markings were, with little cartoon characters, making it all look really nice and sweet and fun for kids. There's unfortunately, you have big business behind it, you have the mafia behind it, but you have the bigwigs that are making money off of people's dependency and death. And drugs and death go hand in hand. For the most part, when you have people ODing and committing suicide, somebody's out to make money on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not.
Um,
It's a business. It's a business that's just not going to go away. No matter how many times you try to shut it down at the border, it's going to be coming in someplace else. People now, like I said, you have these
well, some states are
big meth
legalizing
labs.
drugs. Oregon, it legalized heroin, I believe. Uh, they
Mhm.
um, they legalized marijuana, but I think they have something to do. They've really loosened the rules on even heroin, and
And
I
do you know
guess
why? Do you know why? Because again, it's big business. Look at why they legalized marijuana. Look at even before that, they legalized gambling. Why? Because the government found, oh wow, we can actually make money on this and have people pay taxes on it.
yeah.
Back in the day, before you and I were born, you had bookies and people on the street taking numbers.
Well, they still take
Okay,
numbers, but
and people were
not as
making
much as
money.
before.
Okay, they still take numbers. Okay, but now the government takes bigger numbers.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're
so
all
they got involved.
gangsters. The government is everybody's a gangster. But uh,
Yeah, the government is the largest organized crime family in this country.
oh yeah, yeah. We're not going to get into politics, but there's some
No,
indictments.
I'm not. It's not getting into politics,
There's
but
some
it's just
indictments are going to be coming down in Washington D.C. Talking about
yeah,
drugs. We're
but
talking
like I
about a
said, it's
drug
not getting
addict
into.
whose father's the president. Okay, now all right. Let me check. Um,
Okay,
okay,
no, stop. See, you're going over there now. I'm going to rein you back in. I'm staying away from politics, but just
okay.
letting you know that if there's a way for the government to make money, they're going to look to legalize marijuana's legal, gambling, marijuana. Um, Now it's the
Prostitution
saying different states are going to look to legal. Prostitution's legal
in some states, yeah.
and heroin. Right.
Some state, yeah. That's the thing. Now, in New York City, you have places where people could shoot up. They're supposed to say, well, it's going to make it easier for they won't it's going to be safer and cleaner and healthier for them to go into a place to shoot up. I don't I
Well,
it's
if you look at it that way, I do agree with that. I have no problem with that because if somebody's using drugs, then rather than having dirty needles and having them all over the streets, and possibly
I agree with
contracting
that,
HIV, AIDS, and spreading
the
it. Okay.
but the people that live around these true centers, they are not going to be happy because they're going to once they go in there and shoot up, they're going to be walking around in the days in that neighborhood. It's common. When I was growing up in the Bronx, we had junkies come. You should see they congregated into the same place all the time. And the same thing in Florida. We were doing some interventions there. Michael Spain, hey, good guys, good evening, thank you. What?
Good evening,
Um,
Michael.
Now I forgot what I was saying. I was going to talk about in
You're saying
Florida. In Florida, what happened in Florida?
about the junkies
Oh yeah, they go
congregating
to
in
the
different
beach. They
areas.
go to the beach. So if you want to grab a bunch of junkies and put them in a rehab, if you have insurance, they have what they call body snatchers down there. What they do is they go on the beach. They see somebody stoned, and they go, hey, hey, would you like to get
Mhm.
some Would you like to get some treatment? Yeah, yeah. You have insurance? Yeah, I have insurance. All right. They bring them there. They get paid from the center. Leave them, and then these people are out on the street 3 days after a couple of days. They say, wait a minute, I don't want, and they get paid. It's a scam. It's a big, 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 big scam.
Wait a minute. There was an actual movie documentary about this a couple months ago. I ended up watching it. It was very interesting. And it started out in California, where you're right, insurance companies were behind it. And you had, say, for instance, if you know somebody who's using, you turn around and you encourage him to come into the center to go and get treatment. And then you, for every person that you bring in off the street, you're kind of getting like some sort of a kickback because now the insurance company behind it is making money for every person that they're bringing in and they're trying to rehabilitate. And for every person that junkie then looks to bring in is also also now getting some sort of a monetary award for it. Whether or not you stay in the program or not, they don't care, because now the insurance company just already has another one on their notch. There's someone who they brought in who they can give inpatient treatment to.
Now, what you just said is very important, because that's why that's going to help fentanyl. Not help. It's going to hurt fentanyl, because people are on fentanyl. The ones that don't get overdosed, now they want to get treated. These insurance the companies you're talking about are going to make money off fentanyl indirectly. Isn't that
That's what I'm
what
saying.
a wonderful
It's
country we
big
live in?
business, big business. Well, something, it's all about the bottom line, is all about the dollar, and it's going to be on either somebody's back, whether you're living or dead. Somebody's making money off of this.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
insurance
yeah.
companies now are finding a way with the drug treatment programs to make money. They
They're
really
all
don't
making.
care whether or not you
Look
succeed
at
in the
the
program.
company that the company that manufactured OxyContin. They made billions and billions of dollars. They can care less. They made it, and they got sued. I don't know. They got a fine or something. But why am I on? Okay, uh, they got sued, and they had to pay like $500 million. That pennies to them when you're making billions. I mean, it's unbelievable. And the pharmaceutical companies are making a ton of money now. They're legitimate in the respect that they follow all the rules and everything like that. But still, they're making money off this, and um, there's a hey, no pun intended. There's a bad taste in the people's mouth about these pharmaceutical companies because
You're supposed to be leaving the comedy to me. What are you doing? You're stealing my line.
well, you're infectious. When I'm with you, it's a happy time. It's a happy time.
I thought, but it's not a happy ending.
Oh no, I go to a place that's dyslexic. They give a happy beginning.
Right. Let's just cut for a second. Let me just interrupt you for a moment, and just so you and I can announce to everybody, this is our new show. We're doing great. We're on StreamYard. We have all these other platforms. And what Vinny and I are putting out there to everybody is, if you are a business, a small business, a big business, a restaurant, anything that you are, and if you would like to have your business name heard and advertised, we are looking for sponsors. So please contact us at lawanddisorder@outlook.com. You can have your small business, big business, you can have your name heard and your business advertised here on our wonderful show called Law and Disorder with Vinnie Parco and Pamela Roth. So please contact us at lawanddisorder@outlook.com. And we would appreciate any sponsors who want to come on board with us and join
The only
us.
sponsors we have is my books and my daughter's company right now. But we will have many sponsors, especially with that what you just did, what you just said. That was a great
Thank you.
introduction, and yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good, and we will get sponsors. We'll get some people. Now that we're on different platforms, it makes us even more sustainable. I like that word, sustainable. We're sustainable. We're sustaining. So, oh, we got Courtney. I'm in the midst of two beautiful women. Who's better than me? Who's better than me? Courtney, meet Pam.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Pam, meet Courtney. And so welcome to we're talking about fentanyl. You lived in California, so you have seen it firsthand what's going on.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I was in the Southern California. I think the fentanyl problem is much bigger in the San Francisco area, but yeah, but the drug addiction problem in Southern California was really, really bad. So yeah, the drug addiction, the homelessness, it was.
now are the homeless people on fentanyl, or they're on a different drug, or they're on alcohol, or they don't need drugs. They're stoned on their own. Oh, yeah, stoned on their own. I like that
They're
rhymes.
now
I
offering.
could become a rap star with just talking about.
Well, I think they're now offering meth to them because somehow that's going to help them. But
Well, you could tell when it's meth. They have no teeth. They lose.
this is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
And they're emaciated. Oh my! Certain drugs. Now, heroin. You could tell a heroin because of the way they nod out.
Right.
And And then a Tuinol, someone who's on Tuinols, they sleep. They're walking around in the day. They're sleepy, and and then someone's on speed. They're and they don't stop talking. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest problems with fentanyl, you were both kind of alluding to this with big pharma, because a lot of people don't know they're on it. It is a synthetic drug, and it is being prescribed in a lot of painkillers as a, opioid mix.
Well, when you say prescribed, they're prescribed by a doctor, by a physician. Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know they're taking fentanyl.
Ah, I didn't know that. I thought the doctor would be on the prescription bottle, would say
it's under narcotics, but they don't necessarily know that that's what they're taking. So that's very problematic.
And that's highly addictive, I understand.
It's highly addictive, and that, I think that's a huge part of the problem.
Okay, now I understand that the DEA has a rule for doctors. For example, if they give you a prescription for sleeping pills like Ambien or something like that, it's a 30-day supply, and you have to have they have to be checked, blood pressure stuff. You have to give it. So what happens if someone has fentanyl and the 30 days is up? So now they want more. And if they or during the 30 days they use it all up. That happens. You take a double dose or triple dose.
Right.
So now they go and get fentanyl on the street, and you don't know what you're gonna get.
You don't know. You have no idea.
I mean, Pamela, when you want fentanyl, where do you go?
Oh my gosh, I it's like Uber Eats. I just call it my local.
You call Uber
drugstore,
Eats. How about Uber Drugs? That could be another business. Uber Drugs. You call up and they deliver to your house.
Good evening, Courtney. I'm sorry, I lost the signal when I fell out of this show.
Oh, not to worry. You're good. Good evening. Nice to meet you.
I wanted to introduce Courtney before. I didn't introduce that. You have your own podcast, very successful one. You're on iHeartRadio also.
I am. Yeah, I'm on everything. I'm now on Rockfin also.
Well, all right. Now, weren't you? Didn't Facebook, one of them, throw you off for a while or threw you off?
YouTube gave me a warning, and then they took down 2 of my videos. So I was in YouTube jail for a little bit.
Me too. I've been in jail.
You've been to YouTube jail?
No, I was in a real jail. When you were locked down, I was locked up. That's
a different one. That's not. That's for.
I was locked in. I was locked in.
Yeah, I'm glad I have not shared that experience, but I was in digital jail for a bit, and I seem to be okay now. But I definitely have some episodes that I won't put up there. Rockfin has now accepted me, so that's a completely free speech platform, and I think I'm going to start putting a lot more premium content on there. So that maybe you'll get a little bit on YouTube, and then you can go see the rest of it on Rockfin if you want to find out the rest of the story. Because
thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So fentanyl is a synthetic drug, but they're manufactured in anywhere. I understand. It's like meth. You could just you could get a garage and set up a.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I understand that most of it is coming from China. China is manufacturing it.
And then it's coming from China to Mexico and then coming up through the border.
Now, my feeling is this. Again, we don't want to be political, but if China wants to take over this country, they do not have to invade us. They just keep bringing the fentanyl in, and everybody, we're destroying ourselves. We're destroying ourselves.
We are destroying ourselves, and I don't really know how you could not make this political. I mean, it is a political issue. But more than locally or even nationally political, this is a geopolitical issue. There is a ruling class of global elites who want to control the masses, and one of the ways that they do that is by drugging them. I mean, you've seen that through the MK Ultra studies, right? So they know that a population that is addicted, and I mean this even with the more like high functioning kind of pharmaceuticals, they know that a population that is dependent on substances is a somewhat compromised population, right? They are not independent. They're not functioning at optimal capacity. They're much more manipulatable, controllable, and this is exactly what they want. And it is also a way that they can implode themselves, because this is a fatal drug. You know, it's very common that people overdose on these types of drugs. They're very dangerous. They impair people's cognition, their health, and that this is what they want. So, you know, from that aspect, I don't know how you can. It is a warfare to me, but
You're being very subtle. I like that. No, Pamela and I have made a pact that we try not to be political on this show.
Mhm.
Now, I do a podcast at 5 o'clock. My friend, he works for Fox, and he has one on your pal. You ever hear Pal Talk?
No.
It's a huge chat. It's 5 million followers. It's all over the world,
Wow.
but it's different time zones, so you don't know, you know.
Yeah.
And we had discussed some of these things, and you know, but he has other guests on the show besides me that we have a good dialogue. We were actually, you know, we don't have to agree on everything, but,
Sure.
and we could agree to disagree in a nice way.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
Do people do that?
I do that. I do that,
Well,
and
We
and
do.
Pam does that.
Vinny and I do.
We don't argue with anybody.
Yeah.
You know, and
I was just kidding. It
but
does.
we can't. You cannot argue with fentanyl. Fentanyl is. You know, I remember when we had the heroin was a big deal, but we didn't lose 110 million thousand people.
I
We
know.
lost maybe 25, 30,000 people a year. Ooh, that was a lot. I mean, it's a lot. And one person dies, it's a lot. But it was unbelievable how now things have. Well, you know, we have more people in the United States, more people in the world. You know, but you're right. If it's one way of controlling people.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in the Bronx, so I seen this firsthand, and I had friends that died from this. You know, I remember once one of our friends got, you know, we actually went looking for the drug dealer. One of the guys with me wanted to kill him. Actually wanted to kill him. I said, whoa, you know, give him a beating, but don't kill him. You know, or give him
Right.
a good beating. You know, but we were, and, you know, but that's vigilanteism. I don't care how you look at it, it's being vigilante. And, you know, uh, I remember growing up in the midst of the mafia, and it was understood that you did not sell drugs in the mafia.
Right.
But
Right.
that was the old school. Those are what they call mustache Pete's. Even though they don't have mustaches, I have a mustache. They don't have a mustache. But what happened is, some of them realized how much money they can make. Now, keep in mind with the mafia, and this mafia is not only Italian; it's German, Russian. I mean, all mafia is a synonym for crime, a crime family. Okay.
It's a crime
So
syndicate.
what happened is when you're in a gang, a mob, whatever, mafia, you got to earn money. You have to earn money for the boss. Otherwise, you're nobody. So what they do is they steal, they rob, they sell. You know, they don't not supposed to sell drugs, but some of them said, "Wait a minute, I could make 3 times more money selling drugs." So a couple of them got involved. Some of them got killed for that. You know, the old like Vinny the Chin Gigante. He would whack you. He would say, "All right, get rid of this guy." And then when get rid of doesn't mean firing him, means fire at him. Boom, boom, boom. And then John Gotti, brother, got 50 years, Gene Gotti, for selling drugs. And John let him, you know, was a captain at the time. Then he became the Godfather. Castellano did not like that. Castellano was like, "Hey, wait a minute," you know. And that's probably one of the reasons they killed Pastor. I mean, there's many reasons. One of them, they wanted to take over the family, you know. And it's funny because certain families, in the 5 families, some of them, all they did was drugs. They sold, you know, I won't mention which ones, but that's where they made money, drugs. So fentanyl now is just the new drug. Cocaine was a big deal, but cocaine is not addicting as other drugs. It is addicting psychologically more than physically.
Well, I mean, and cocaine is also
Right.
not as lethal. So the margin with fentanyl is very small.
Tiny, like a
Yeah.
grain of salt.
It's like a little bit is, okay, you'll survive. And then you go over that and you're likely going to not make it. So they actually, I don't know, but I don't know for sure. I haven't double checked this, but I'm pretty sure that Prince, when he died, they found the bottles that said, hydrocodone, but when they did the analysis, it was actually fentanyl. So this is what I mean. Like, people are getting things that are fentanyl and they don't know.
Wait, can I just interject for a second? I was just on hydrocodone for an entire week. So how would I know whether or not there's any fentanyl in it?
Well, you seem to be okay. So I think that's probably a good indication that.
I mean,
I don't know about her being okay. I mean, so she's okay for the.
No, but
I mean, this was in the it was in the hospital. So I mean, it was regulated.
You had a gallbladder. She had a gallbladder, and she put it on. Her operation was it was like live. Her gallbladder was on every social media, on Instagram and Facebook. Look at my gallbladder, and she came out with jokes about it. Hilarious.
Well, I was going to say, I hope she had a gallbladder. I mean,
well, you know what? You could have put a lot of fentanyl into that gallbladder and brought it. You could have been a mule, a fentanyl mule.
Wow. Well, I don't know. I mean, I would like to think that the majority of hospitals and doctors, act in, good faith and, have some integrity. But that's not to say that you don't know. That's the problem. There are.
Excuse me. I got an urgent message just now.
Oh.
Can I release Pamela so you could pick up Gigi at the airport? Were you supposed to pick her up?
Yes.
I swear to God, I'm reading. Please, can you please release Pam from the show salon? So I'm waiting at the airport for her to pick me up. Thank you.
Of course, the government can stop the drugs. They don't want to. And this is what I was saying.
We don't want you. We want you to stay here, Pam. We're having fun with you. You're the comedian. We're just two podcasters making fun of you. Having fun.
I think I gotta go pick up Gigi because she's a mule at the airport.
Yeah, but she doesn't live. What airport you picking her up in L.A.? I mean, come on. With all her money, she could take a cab or Uber.
But Courtney, can I ask you this? What is the benefit, or is there any sort of euphoria attached to someone who's taking fentanyl as opposed to the feelings that someone has when they shoot up heroin or when they take cocaine? Why would somebody take fentanyl?
Oh, I mean, like, you're asking me like as the person taking it,
right. I mean, right. If someone takes fentanyl, what is the feeling that somebody's supposed to be feeling and getting out of it? I mean, is it for pain? Is it a pain suppressor, or is it something like, was supposed to make you feel high, like cocaine, where you feel all speeded up? Or that's what I'm saying. I don't know anything about fentanyl.
Pam, when you were not, didn't they give you what painkillers did they give you?
I was on morphine for a week, Dilaudid, hydrocodone.
Okay, so
Oxycontin.
So fentanyl is probably 3 times more powerful than Oxycontin.
It is,
but it's a smaller amount. It's tiny. It's more concentrated.
Okay.
It is. I do think they typically prescribe it for pain relief. So I don't think it's supposed to, if you're taking it as a prescribed kind of thing, I don't think it's supposed to be like a.
Do you know a very good alternative to all this is? I had a client that have pharmacies, and they do they make what they call compounds. What they do is they put the Oxycontin in a cream, so you can't ingest it. You have to put it on your skin.
Right.
So, and what happens is the insurance company likes this, and they pay a lot of money for this. Now, here's the deal. a tube of this stuff might cost them $10 to make. Let's say I'm just arguing, but when they bill the insurance company, they bill them for like $900, $1,000, and there's a reason for it because they got to wait 3 or 4 months. Because I was at the pharmacy. I was talking to the client, and I see the going. I said, what are you? He says, these are all compounds for people that have been in pain. They rub it on, and apparently it helps, but it's safer than giving someone Oxycontin or giving them fentanyl or anything like that. I mean, but it's very expensive.
So I looked it up, and well, the insurance companies need a major overhaul. There needs to be some serious revamping in there, but that's a total different conversation. But I did look up fentanyl in terms of like the feeling. I mean, I'm not somebody who really takes things, so I have no idea. It's just not my arena, but it is just what I thought it was.
Yeah.
It's a pain reliever. It's an opioid.
You get it's like taking any kind of downer. It's like taking you get
narcotic. It is,
but it feels so good that you want more. That's the problem. All right, Vincent, they have to eliminate cash money. That would screw every drug dealer who has millions and billions in cash. They should have a quantum debit card. No more cash, no more drugs.
Oh, yeah. And that's exactly what the IMF just proposed. And
you can't hide millions illegal money on a debit card.
You think that you know exactly who's going to control that one. Yeah, the IMF just came out with they're working on their digital currency, and they're going to try and.
Well, you have Bitcoin, you have crypto, you have the Ethereum. I mean, everybody's coming out with
Ethereum.
And you got the NFTs. I mean, it's so many ways of.
Yeah, but he's talking about having the government regulate it like they do in China. Yeah. See how it works out for them. Yeah,
he's a very dear friend of mine. I didn't know he's a socialist.
Yeah, that's not the answer at all. That is definitely not.
Courtney, what's really bizarre is the fact that even from years ago, with all the information that's out there about people overdosing from fentanyl and how bad it is for you, and you see famous people like, say, for instance, Prince, Michael Jackson, I think he was given an overdose of fentanyl from his doctor, or he had some sort of
no, it wasn't fentanyl. It was propofol.
Michael Jackson was propofol.
Yeah, Profitol.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And I had dinner with his pharmacist. He's at my sister's house at Thanksgiving, the pharmacist. And he went to jail for 1 year for that.
Yeah.
He should have known. A pharmacist has a responsibility. That's another thing. If a pharmacist sees a doctor.
Social influences and movie stars, and they're all still taking fentanyl.
But a pharmacist sees that that the doctor is prescribing too much fentanyl for a client. He has an obligation to inform the doctor or to stop it. The guy who gave the I can't say that word, propofol. All right, whatever. To Michael Jackson, he knew it. He knew that it was too much, but apparently that turned him. That was a drug of choice. I had an operation once. They gave me that. I went to sleep. I got up. It was like twinkle medicine. I don't know how anybody can get high on that, but I guess you can.
Yeah.
I had a colonoscopy. That's what they gave me.
Yeah, they do a lot for as an alternative for anesthesia, kind of like a local anesthesia.
And then I woke up like no hangover. Like,
yeah.
Hey, what happened?
No, for surgery for that type of thing.
But the funny thing is, they gave the same amount to Joan Rivers in the same hospital I was in. The day before, I was there the day before she overdosed.
Wow.
And now it goes by your body weight.
Right.
Now she's 125 pounds. Right. I think they gave her 200 milliliters. I'm not sure how. Now I at that time I weighed 200 pounds. I got 200 milliliters. So it's too much for her.
Of course.
And by the way, the hospital, it was called the Yorkville Medical Center. Fantastic, clean. I was impressed with this place.
Really?
Very professional. But as they say in English, excrement occurs. So, things happen, and then who knows? I don't know. Who knows why, you could blame the doctor, you could blame the anesthesiologist, you could blame everybody.
I don't know enough about that case to speak to it, but
Yeah.
But yes, with Prince, it does seem that it was the bottle said hydrocodone, but when they did the analysis,
But you know how, sometimes when they do the drug analysis, they don't do every spectrum. If they see that there's a drug, an illicit drug in there, it's, oh, okay, But if they do further checking, they would find additional drugs. But that was the drug that caused the death, so that's what they put.
right. Well, and because there is such a narrow margin with
Yeah.
fentanyl, so you go a little bit over, like then you're not good.
Well, and well, there's another facet to this also. I don't know if you remember a few years ago, there was an outstanding basketball player named Len Bias. He had he was phenomenal. He was going to be the new superstar of the NBA. He was doing cocaine.
Hmm.
He went out on the thing and got a heart attack and died.
Wow.
He had, and I was 25 or 23 years old and tip top shape, and he dies from that. So you don't know how it could affect you.
Of course you don't.
And I think I mentioned before, a cop pulled a car over. I think it was in Florida. Opened the back door, saw a package, opened the package, and it was fentanyl, and the powder. He ingested the powder nasally, and he went into a heart. They had to get him to the hospital. He was going to die. That's how powerful that stuff. Just inhaling a little bit of it got him. So you got to. It's tough.
Yeah.
Tough, really tough, a drug. And again, we don't want to be political, but my Vincent Terracino smoked 2 joints of pot and called me in the morning. Now wait a minute. This is not. We're talking about fentanyl, but you know what? I remember years ago there was movies had the dangers of marijuana. There was a movie in the 50s. Oh my God! You thought if you smoke marijuana, your head's gonna explode. Now it's like nothing. It's legal almost every place, and now we have And I got to tell you this, and this is a forecast for the future. In years to come, probably another 2 or 3 years, they're going to find another synthetic drug that makes fentanyl look like pot, and people are going to die from that. So it's a constant thing. It's constant. There's always going to be some drug, and someone, I think you said that, Pam, before. There's always going to be drugs, no matter what.
Right, because it's by design.
By design.
If someone has an addictive personality, they're going to become addicted.
Yeah.
Right, but
and if you
sorry, go on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I have friends that have addictive personalities, and they have to be careful. My wife, my wife died from a series of illnesses, but she had an addictive personality with alcohol. She went to rehab. She was very good for 10 years, and then all of a sudden, but she didn't die from alcoholism. She died from pneumonia in a hospital. Once you're in the hospital for more than a week, your life expectancy goes down.
It does. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for telling me that. I was there for a week. Thank you. You both made.
Well, you made it right under the gun. Another day you wouldn't be here. We'd been having a memorial for you. Pam was such a and funny attorney. Oh my God. But she passed away. She was in the hospital for 7.5 days. She violated the threshold.
Yeah.
I'm not having you write my epitaph. Thank you.
I would write it in Italian for you. The little Italian that I know, I would write it for you.
Wow.
My best friend, I met my best friend, one of my best friends. I only got 2 or 3 of them. The rest of them are just hangers on. But I met him in Italian.
I wonder why.
Well, some of them die from fentanyl. What can I tell you? We met in Italian class in community college, Bronx Community College, and we became friends. We've been friends for 100 years now. Almost, well, really 50 years. Half 100 years. Okay. So, but in those days we argued about heroin, cocaine, marijuana, not too much, but it's but this is more serious. This now again, we don't want to be political, but this drug is undermining the fabric of this country. That's my opinion, and I think the opinion of a lot of people.
Yeah, and well, I don't know how. Again, I don't know how you cannot be political about it, because I do think that it's intentional. And when you say there's going to be other drugs, there's always going to be,
Well,
because
let me ask you something, both of you.
Mhm.
We pay taxes for the government to protect us. We
Right,
pay taxes to the government to defend our borders, to defend us from outside people.
allegedly,
We have to promulgate laws that could help us and make us live safer. I don't think they're doing that. You know,
no,
and I'm not talking about Democrat. I'm talking about both Republican. I don't. This partisan thing is crazy.
yeah,
Everybody has their own agenda. They
yeah,
all have their own agenda. They go into politics, middle class, upper middle class, and they come out wealthy. They become millionaires, and now
yeah,
they're trying to curtail that they have no insider trading. Now, what they did, they said, okay, we can't have it, but the judges on the Supreme Court. What do the judges? How do they get involved in this? They don't know what the legislation is going to come out. They don't know. It's it's insider trading, no matter how you
it
look at
is.
it. Martha Stewart went to jail for that. All these congressmen, Republicans and Democrats alike,
Yep,
could all go to jail
we
if,
should.
if they ever looked into what they did. I mean,
I agree. It's absolutely insider trading, but the whole entire market is a rigged system, and it has been for a very long time.
For a very long time. Yes. Courtney, may I ask you something?
Sure.
Okay. Do you see this fentanyl coming across the borders only through Mexico and Texas? Or I noticed, I was looking something up earlier today, that it's also Arizona, some of the other states out there as well. It's not just through Mexico, because there was I believe it was a congressman or a senator who was also stating, I think it was Arizona, that there's a huge fentanyl problem out there.
it's a huge
Do you
problem
see
all
it? Do
over.
you see it in those states?
I mean, I've heard of it. I'm not in all those states to witness it firsthand, but I've
Hmm.
certainly read that it is definitely, it's concentrated in certain areas more than others. But people are, they migrate. It's not like they just come over the border and they stay right along the border,
But let me ask you
And
something. They're
the
bringing in
market is huge. I
now. They're
mean,
bringing in stuff. Okay, so here's the deal. These people are very poor. The cartels tell them, listen, you're going to go through there. Here's a couple pounds of some drugs. They don't even tell them what it is. Get it over there. Get it over there. So they sneak in and they get good money, or they do it because they have to pay the cartels to bring them over. You see, the cartels is like an extortion ring. They're a mafia, their own mafia. In order to come over the border, you got to pay them.
yeah,
They're charging these people thousands of dollars. Now, these people live in a destitute poor. Where do they get this money? In some of them, they have to work for them when they get into this country. They get jobs for them. Most of the jobs are sort of illegal jobs, and that's it never stops. It's a continuing saga. It just continues,
yeah,
and it just doesn't stop. Just like I won't. Yeah, I mentioned Asians. Sometimes you find out that the tongs, which are their gangs, the tongs, what they do is they bring people over and then they say, look, you got to pay me $20,000 and you got to work it off. And that's how they do trafficking for women and some men too, but mostly women.
yeah.
And
Well, that's
they say,
the
look, you got
sex
to pay off,
trafficking.
you got to pay off this debt or your family's in, whatever the honor type of thing. So they work as prostitutes. They work in whatever they work. They got to pay the piper. And
Mhm.
it's an ongoing thing. It never stops.
Sure.
And this is every ethnic. The Vietnamese do it to the Vietnamese. The Haitians do it to the Haitians. Everybody does it to their own ethnic group. And it's the way of history. I mean, it's always been that way.
It's true.
All right. I'm gonna name something that you're really happy about. that- Something positive. Something really happy. What's the one thing you're thankful for?
Who's going first?
Who are you asking? Myself or
Yeah.
Courtney?
Uh,
All right, I'll go first because
oh, you go first.
I'll go first because I got Gigi at the airport waiting for me.
Oh yeah, she's
Okay.
waiting.
I'm thankful. I'm thankful for especially my son and my family, because everything I do in my life, all the plans, all my goals, all my desires, everything is centered around doing what's best for my son, to have a better life, so he can have a better life and better education, and giving him all the opportunities. So I'm very grateful and happy for my
Okay,
son.
now go.
Oh,
Okay.
What are you
Courtney, it
grateful
was a
for?
pleasure.
All right, it was a pleasure with
Courtney, it
you.
was a pleasure. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and I will see you
yeah.
all next week. Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye.
So nice to meet you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure meeting you. Thank you. Bye, Vinny.
Bye bye, honey. So what are you thankful for, Courtney?
I'm thankful for so many things, but the first thing that comes to my mind is that I'm really thankful that I moved to an area where I'm not feeling like I'm going into battle every day, and people
Oh,
are
you feel good where you live.
yeah, I'm so much happier. Yeah, so I'm closer to my family, and
Vinny puts down Trump Parco 2024. I don't know.
there you go.
Um, well, I'm thankful for a couple things. I'm thankful I have a great daughter that's been helping me a lot. Coming out of jail for a year ruined my whole life, and now I'm coming back. My life is coming back. My two boys, my twin boys, very supportive. They're very good. My son Christopher has been working. I'm thankful for the Super Bowl Sunday at headquarters. We have a Super Bowl party in a gentleman's club Sunday,
Oh wow.
and I invited my friend Vincent Terracino,
Okay.
Vinny, also known as Vinny Rigoletto's from Rigoletto's restaurant. But um, I'm thankful that I've got a great family. Everybody's healthy.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing okay, and you know. And I'm thankful that we got a podcast that's now being our podcast is being on Rumble and Anchor and all this other stuff, which is good. That just boy, you could teach us a few things about podcast. You were very successful in yours, and that's why I like having you here. You're intelligent. You're gorgeous. I love you.
Oh, thank
I
you.
got that. I got to tell you, if I wasn't engaged to two women, going steady with one, and I have a transsexual post-op living with me, I would ask you out. But I can't.
Wow. Well, I think
Do you know I actually picked up a girl in Florida, a waitress, very friendly, and then I used that line, and she cracked up. She gave me a number, and I went out with her for a while.
wow.
Yeah.
Well,
If you're watching, when I go to Florida, I'll see. I'm not going to mention her name, but I'll see you when I see you in Florida with the other 5 women that I'm dating down there. Okay. I love Florida. Oh my God, I love Florida.
and these are the 5 women feel
Well,
like
not, I exaggerate. It's really
well,
3. It's only 3.
yeah.
But no, really, for a single guy, the women down in Florida are very friendly, and it's great. It's really good. Plus, I like to dance, and I'm a fairly I don't want to brag, but I'm a pretty good dancer. And when I go to there's a club down there called Spice. It's a Latin club, salsa. I'm the only white guy there. I'm the only Caucasian there, so I have a little, I'm not I'm good, but I'm not great. So I got to practice. Actually, when I move to Florida, I'm going to take more lessons. I want to get better at. But
All right.
and I was taking tango. But wait a minute, we're talking about fentanyl. We're talking about my dance. Well, you know what? I'm Vinny Parco, and this is what I do. Okay, this is the way I'm not going to change. I'm going to be the way I am. You either love me or you love me.
love you. I love you. Yeah.
All right, Anthony, let's get some advertising here. My daughter's company, my books, so I could. All right, Investigate After Dark, very sexy book, true stories of a private eye, all divorce cases, sex cases, everything. My publisher told me sex sells, so I made it. Mafia Double Cross speaks for itself. It's a great book. I don't want it to give away that I want people to buy it. The Detective's Kitchen. When I was on the job, I went to French cooking school, and of course, I'm Italian, so I cook Italian. When I was on surveillances, I had to cook for my people, and that's the book. And then I have the other one you missed, um, Rogue PI. It's almost a semi autobiography. Tells about all the stupid, crazy, dumb, and smart things I did over the years. See, I covered everything now. And my daughter's company, Parco Associates. She's phenomenal. She's great. Of course, she learned from me, of course, but she's got her own way of doing things, and it's pretty good. Sometimes, sometimes the student is better than the professor. Courtney, I want to thank you for coming on. I hope we have you on again. Wait, okay.
Thank you.
Wait, let's get to this. Okay. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank
And
you.
we'll have you on again. Don't worry. We'll have
Yeah, awesome.
another. Oh, by the way, one of my friends, Bob Holmes from Texas, is a private eye. He specializes in cybersecurity. I
Ooh.
mean, really, threat assessment, the whole bit.
Yeah.
I told him about this. He said yes, but I can't get a hold of him to get a date, when he's going to come in. But this guy, you'll love this guy.
Yeah, I would.
He got into it in the beginning of his career, 1982. He just got into it. I never got into the cybersecurity. I'm lucky I could.
Oh, that would be
You
fascinating.
know,
Yeah.
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 All right, as we say on Arthur Avenue at Rigoletto's, sempre noi, always with us. Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.